John Milton was a Stuart like no other, a civil servant under Oliver Cromwell, involved in the death of a king, advocator for the abolition of the Church of England, and even after going blind, a writer of epic poetry. Life in 17th century England was full of change, and Milton wrote his way through all of it, from the Civil War to the interregnum and on to the restoration of the monarchy. He's often described as a polemicist, using his writing to engage in controversial debate about monarchy, politics and religion. Although as a civil servant he often worshipped in St Margaret's, the church next door to Westminster Abbey, he had a complicated relationship with religion. He originally studied to be a priest, but as he got older became more Puritan, wanting to move away from the hierarchy of church. His most famous poem is grounded in Christian thought, focusing on the fall of man over an epic 11,000 lines of blank verse. Paradise Lost has two storylines, one about Satan, or Lucifer, and the other about Adam and Eve. When writing, he was in mourning for Oliver Cromwell and his second wife, who died in the same year. As you can see in his memorial window in St Margaret's, Paradise Lost would not exist without the women around him. Milton had gone completely blind and was reliant on his third wife Elizabeth and daughters Anne, Deborah and Mary to write down the verses he dictated. At the time, Paradise Lost was not well received. With Milton's approval, John Dryden, a poet also memorialised in the Abbey, reworked the poem into a rhymed adaptation to be used as an opera, but it was never performed. It wasn't until the mid-18th century that a memorial was added in Poets' Corner with a bust of the poet and a nod to Paradise Lost with a snake with an apple in its mouth. By the 19th century, he was popular amongst romantic authors, including husband and wife Percy Bysshe Shelley and Mary Shelley. Through his poetry, Milton wished to justify the way of God to men and reflected upon the collapse of what he saw as the godly republic because of the fragility of humankind when faced with the forces of evil. His greatest poem begins here.
Of man's first disobedience and the fruit of that forbidden tree, whose mortal taste brought death into the world and all our woe, with loss of Eden, till one greater man restore us and regain the blissful seat. Sing heavenly muse that on the secret top of Oreb or of Sinai didst inspire that shepherd who first taught the chosen seed, in the beginning how the heavens and earth rose out of chaos. Or if Sion hill delight thee more, and Siloa's brook that flowed fast by the oracle of God, I thence invoke thy aid to my adventurous song, that with no middle flight intends to soar above the Ionian mount, while it pursues things unattempted yet in prose or rhyme. And chiefly thou, O Spirit, that dost prefer before all temples the upright heart and pure, instruct me, for thou knowest, thou from the first wast present, and with mighty wings outspread, dove-like satst brooding on the vast abyss and madest it pregnant. What in me is dark, illumine. What is low, raise and support, that to the height of this great argument I may assert eternal providence and justify the ways of God to men.